Hi, guys. We are here to finish A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. This is our reread through this book, so even if me saying that we're about to talk about the end of it didn't clue you in that this is not the episode to start with, go back. Go way back. Also, we're going to spoil everything for the whole series, so if you haven't read all of ACOTAR, like the whole series through Silver Flames, this is not the episode for you. We've got other episodes for you. Go find those. Um, Also, at the end of this, we will potentially discuss other books in the Sarah J. Maas universe of books, like the Throne of Glass series or Crescent City. We will warn you before we do that, but we will probably chat about them a little bit at the end. Part 3 of A Court of Mist and Fury. How's everybody feeling? Elena, are you like trying to sync up your face with Feyre's face on the cover that we were doing? I saw it out of the corner of my eye. It's like,
but I would have to get too far away.
no, but that's great. I
Is
love
it
it.
working?
No, see,
can
if you took your blur feature off, it probably would, but for
Oh,
some
I
reason you don't
unblur.
want us to see your white apartment walls. You're like, no, this is too invasive.
My apartment that I've lived in for 3 years and hung nothing up.
It's all right. I was in mine for 5 and we never hung. Oh, we hung one thing, but yeah. All right, so we're here. The end of A Court of Mist and Fury. Personally, probably my favorite book. This was great. It had my 2 favorite chapters in it. Some of the best scenes. There was not as much to talk about in this section as the last one. I don't know if anybody has a specific place that they wanted to just jump into, beginning, end, specific character, a scene, a theory.
Chapters back to back. Just wondering.
Chapters back to back? What do you mean?
Like you said, your 2 favorite chapters are in this section. Are they back
Yes.
to back? They're in a row.
They are
Yeah.
in fact back to back, with my first chapter happening first around the 54-ish area, and then my second favorite chapter happening right after that. So good.
Good soup.
Such good soup.
Good soup.
Actually, so I read it last night, and then as I was going to bed, I was just gushing about reading my favorite book again to Matt, my husband, and he was like, did she make him the same awful soup again? And I was like, yes, she made him the same awful soup again, but it's okay because it's mate soup.
Awful though. I think Moore brings it in from somewhere. Like I think someone else made it. I don't think we can say it's bad.
I think it's still just like a can of soup. Like, I know the joke is that
Oh.
it's like a Campbell's can of soup, but it's probably somewhere around there. She just
She
heats him up
doesn't
a
cook.
soup.
Okay. Yeah. She just heats it up.
Well, and I keep telling him, like, soup is at least better than, like, a stale pocket cracker, which one of our other favorite Bat Boys got offered. So I'd take soup over a pocket cracker any day. Do we want to jump into them? Is that an okay place to start? Can we just, like, talk
That's
about
where we
our...
left off. Is she goes to the cabin.
Oh, I meant Nessian, like Cassian and Nesta, but we can start with my
Oh,
top favorite couple. Go big or
Also
go
that you
home.
meant
my bad.
face and.
Faysand, Feyre, and Rhysand. My favorite couple in the whole universe of couples. How did you guys feel? What was it like reading it again?
I think last episode we talked about not liking the fact that she ditches him for 5 days after throwing him in the mud.
Not great.
And I want to defend my girl here because she
Mhm.
couldn't leave. Like, yeah, she like isolates herself in the cabin for 5 days, but outside of that one time Moore visits her, she's kind of stuck there. Like, she can't winnow that far. She doesn't really know where she is, just in some mountains. So, on one hand, it is a choice to stay away, but on the other hand, like, it's not like she's right next door and like actively shutting him out.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that, Elena. There isn't like a scene where she's like, I really want to go back and I need to like figure out how to get, like, there's no like, I'm gonna break out of this mountain cabin scene. But at the same time, yeah, it's like she's just, she's eat, love, praying, eat, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And she
She.
does a lot of like introspection, which I really like.
It was a bit chaotic because, like, at one point she's going through all the thoughts in her head, but then like settling into the cabin, and I'm just like, hurry up! I know what happens, but just I want to get to Reese.
You just keep going to the next chapter and you're like, not 54 yet. Why isn't it 54 yet? Yeah. Um yeah, but like I do agree. I know that, and we said this in the last episode, she needs time. She needs space. She needs to like take a minute for herself. And I do appreciate that you can see how she's really thinking through things. Like, I know what I want to do and I've made the decision, and now I'm just gonna like take a moment and come to like come to that moment organically. Um, One thing that I know a large portion of the fandom loves to give Feyre grief about is her personal art project in the cabin. How do you guys feel about that first time around? What about this time around? I know this is the second time through for both of you.
I think it's a great bit saying that she's actually really bad at painting. So this entire scene, I was just imagining like she's so proud of her drawings. And in my head, I couldn't get it out of my head just being like, but what if they're just really bad? And I just kept picturing them really bad. Like she's like painting eyes and it's just a blop.
Like one of those bingo like stampers. Jamie, how do you feel about it?
I think the first read through, I just felt indifferent. I'm like, oh, that's cute. Like she's just doing little drawings around the cabin. And this time I did think I would be pretty funny if she was just actually bad at it. But I didn't really let it sour my reread. But if she was really bad, Moore did a great job of identifying whose eyes they were.
That's what I was gonna say. And I mean, like, you guys know that I love Feyre and like I'll defend her until the very end. But that is one of the things that has always bugged me is like, and I think that for the most part, the fandom like jokes about her being a bad artist. Like, I don't think there's a large group of people that thinks that she's genuinely awful. But I did notice that, like, really this time, that Moore comes in and she immediately is like, oh, like those are Amren's eyes. And like when Farah's saying like that she just like put a shimmer of like gold and like this russet color by the window or something, Moore realizes it's her hair. And then like on the mantle above the chimney, she's just like painted these like streaks of color, and she recognizes that they're like the Illyrian wings. So it's like I do think that Feyre is like a fairly accomplished artist for being self-taught, because she got those things across without saying it out loud. Elena, what are you gonna say?
Think about how funny it would be if she was bad. Like this is all from Farrah's POV. Farrah could just be like, and Moore knew what I was doing.
That is definitely one way we could take it. For
Either
sure.
she's really bad or she's just really good at mixing colors.
Yeah. I choose to think that like she has created these like very cute accents to the whole house, because some people are like, "Oh my goodness, can you even believe how she just like went into the cabin and like painted the whole thing?" And I'm like, I think she really like she added her own like essence to it, and like I think they were all like really nice touches.
Think about how funny it would be.
If she was bad, I know.
If Bruce really didn't like it, I'm sure he could easily remove them
Yeah.
with magic.
Yeah. But yeah, 54 was really nice. I had a great time like rereading that, and this was my first time like reading it instead of listening to it, and it's just like all the feels of going through every single moment from when he first, connected with her via their minds, and how long he kind of suspected they were mates. Just like, ugh, Reese.
Yeah, and like hearing his side of the story. It's really nice.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it this time too.
Yeah.
One thing that surprised me is I had forgotten how sad it was. Like I remember really liking this chapter, and that was essentially what I remembered, is that it was like a good chapter. I liked it. I thought it focused on their relationship, but I had forgotten like getting his full backstory with Amarantha and how like awful that entire situation was. So like going back in, I was like, oof, this is a lot.
It is a lot. And I will say one thing that I don't know if I forgot it or if I just like didn't really recognize the impact of it. I'm gonna guess that I forgot, but like the moment in 55 where Farah like helps him reclaim his like ability to be with someone after Amarantha. I was just like, so many feels, so sad, so happy, so much. And I was like, Brooke, you've read this book twice already. Like, why are you tearing up?
54 is such like a beautiful, like beautiful vulnerable chapter, at least for Reese. And I think 55 is more of like them being together finally.
Yeah. Yeah, because
And
I,
it
I
feels
would like
great.
to think that Reese like has an idea that she has feelings for him, like, with everything that's happened up until this point. But there's still like, she's like, tell me the story. And this is his chance to be like, okay, here's all the truth and nothing but the truth. This is everything. And he puts it all out there and like makes himself entirely vulnerable and puts it in her court. And she still chooses him. She says yes.
Oh, she chooses Tam in the end, I think.
My heart at the end of this first time I read it, I was in tears. I was just like, no, the bond cannot be severed. And now reading it, I'm just like, lol, y'all are gonna get your shit pushed in.
I will say the end of this book did something I didn't think was going to happen, which is like we're currently reading two very intense books together, and I very much want to finish the other book that we're reading because like we haven't read it before. So I kind of assumed I'd immediately want to go back to that, but reading this, I was like, oh, I need to read Wings and Fury immediately. Like, just it ends in such a way that like very much leaves you wanting to continue.
So true.
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah,
That whole
what do
scene.
you guys I remember reading Mr. Furry for the first time by the end and being like, what the hell like happened? Because so much has happened. And this time I can kind of like take my time and enjoy it. Like I actually enjoyed the banter or like the one-liners from the King of Hybern, which is really weird. But he was just like throwing zingers out and just like putting Tam down. I was for it.
I honestly I enjoy now reading this scene because this is really like one of the only scenes we get with him before like the end
Yeah.
of Wings and Ruin. And I love reading the scene with him and Nesta too, even though it's like 3 seconds long. It's just like, dude, you are asking for it. Like this is you signing your death right now. I think we all knew that reading it the first time too. It was just like so clear that Nesta was gonna have her say again. But yeah, the King of Hybern. He's a crazy, crazy little mofo.
A bad dude.
Just a bad dude. Yeah. Yeah. I love the end of this book. I think because it's just nonstop. It's like the quick little cauldron heist, then it goes really poorly, and then you're like, why are Tamlin and Lucian here? Just like a totally wild roller coaster. And I know the
Oh,
first time I read
even
it. Oh yeah, yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, like it's intense the last chunk of this book, but also the attack at Valaris by
Oh,
I
the
had forgotten that happened.
yeah,
oh.
Like
that was
literally
intense
that
too.
scene started and I was like, "What?"
It's one of
The
my
water
favorite
wolves.
scenes. Yeah. I mean, because I think, like, we've talked about this, but how people are like, Feyre is so badass. Like, why isn't she going to do more fighting? That there's a possibility that she doesn't later on in the series. And like, this is one of her best scenes where she, like, really just, like, goes to town. Like, even afterward, Reese is like, you blocked me out entirely, and like, the things you did to the Adder. And I'm like, yeah, that's my girl. She's great.
So great.
Yeah. Murders the Adder. And helps save the people in the artists' quarter in the Rainbow, which I love.
Such a badass
It,
scene.
it's always great to reaffirm how much I hate the Mortal Queens. What like so annoying.
They're so random too. I'm just like, I don't know if any of the others are gonna come back like later in the series other than Briellen, but they're
Well,
just so random.
I'm so confused cuz like it doesn't Durian end up being fine later in the series? Isn't he all like, and I was tricking him? Like,
Jurian.
Did you guys get any hints about him being, you know, on the good side?
Oh, no.
Reading
No,
this,
which is
I
why I'm
don't
so
either.
confused. Because right now, like in the world, because we're all reading this with Silver Flames out, like
Right,
nothing
right.
else is out. Durian's buds with Lucian. Like he's on the
Right.
good guy squad. And reading this book, I'm like, update, maybe I need to reassess trusting him.
So I will say, like, as of Silver Flames, I totally trust Jurian, me personally. I think he's just a very good actor. He's also like very crazy. Like the amount of mental anguish that this man has been through that they kind of talk about in this section. I think he's just like slightly unhinged and very good at like removing his emotions as needed because he was a literal eyeball for 50 years.
I don't know. I think
With
I'm just gonna keep my eye on him
Mm.
because it
I
seems
Ooh, ba-doom-tsh.
I don't know why I trusted him, and I don't remember enough about like where he goes from here. But as of right now, he's very sus, and I also didn't see anything that like made him seem possibly unsus. The only thing that really happened was the King of Hybern being like, Durian has his own motives for like making a deal with me, and like weirdly foreshadowed that Durian wants something, which I think is just Miriam, but
It's just Miriam. I mean, unless something else comes down the pike, but like
yeah,
it that kind of happens in Wings and Ruin where they talk about he's just made a deal to basically get Miriam back.
I heard.
Which like my guy, move on. Move on.
Hard to move on when you're an eyeball.
That's fair. That's
okay,
fair.
roll on.
Okay, no more
Okay, I'm sorry.
eyeballs.
But I was
um
just gonna say, like, if we were to trust anyone without Jurian, it'd be more because she has that background. She was friends with Miriam. She knows that Miriam ran away from Jurian. So
mhm,
it's like I don't know, there's like this disconnect. There's a gap here, right?
yeah.
Entire squad, even at this point, we still don't know a ton about their backstory or
The like
there's
Jurian
just a lot
Vasa
missing. Yeah.
group. Yeah. I'm excited to get more of them later. And
Mhm.
pay extra attention to Vasa in Wings and Ruin.
I'm
Um,
not super excited to get more of them because it's just going to be more Sad Boy Lucian for like 3 books. And I'm done with Sad Boy Lucian and we're a book in.
Let's
Elena
talk
is
about him.
already done with Sad Boy Lucian. Let's talk about Sad Boy Lucian. I highlighted some things about Lucian, but Elena, you've got a lot of feelings about Lucian. Why don't you tell us how you feel?
Oh, did you highlight when the bright light from his day court powers broke through the spell that Hybern was using on them and Tam definitely noticed?
And was still
No.
chained? Yeah.
Where was that?
You
Oh, I
definitely
highlighted that
did.
too.
I don't actually did I might have taken pictures of it. I didn't tab.
Oh, you know what? Yes, I did highlight it, but in the I want to keep track of ways that Lucian may possibly deserve to be with Elaine. I will admit, I will fully admit, I did not put two and two together, but amazing catch on that. That is really good.
Well,
I,
I
I
feel
think it's
like
hidden really well because Feyre is also
it is
doing light stuff, which is like the day court power, but we all know why Lucian can do day court stuff.
well, not just the light, but like the they refer to healing as the spell cleaver. So he breaks spells. And
Mhm.
that's kind of what he did in that scene.
Yeah.
But I guess
yeah.
light is tied to that
And that's
too.
what Feyre does too. I think it's really smart how Sarah like puts them next to each other. So
Yeah.
like you're kind of getting a hint at like Feyre using his powers and then Lucian using his powers. But what
Mhm.
really got me in this is the fact that like Tamlin notices it and is like watching him, which I
Yeah.
don't think
Do you think he knows?
I think Tamlin knows.
I mean, I did not read it that way, but now I am because so it
Do
says
you,
there was a flare of light and a scrape,
Uh-huh.
and then Lucian was stalking toward Elaine, freed of his restraints. Tamlin remained leashed on the ground, a gag of white iridescent magic in his mouth now, but his eyes were on Lucian and then it cuts off and goes to something else. You're so right. He knows.
No.
Or at least,
That just makes it more sad that
is
Lucian doesn't know.
is Tamlin smart enough to put 2 and 2 together? Is he just going, what's this light stuff?
I think like acknowledging that it's a book, right? Like acknowledging that it's not just the world. The acknowledgement that he's noticing equals he knows.
Yeah, I would agree with you. It hasn't come up again since
It's
this
never come up
that I know
again.
of, though.
Isn't that weird?
Okay.
That was
Maybe
my one
Tamlin-
big
Yeah, I love that, Elena. Maybe Tamlin's just keeping it in his back pocket, like, for later.
to screw Lucian over when he steals his girl.
Next topic. Are we done with
Me.
Sad Boy Lucian? I feel like we got to
No,
say
we're
more.
not done.
We
No,
have to say
because
more
there's
about
more.
Lucian. You're right. I very quickly wanted to go away from what Elena wants to talk about. Jamie, what do you have to say about Lucian? Who I would much rather end up
Although
with
he
Elaine.
was, you notice like he does some things that's similar to Cassian, where they're both like even before they turned
Yes.
fit, they're both like leaning
Yeah.
towards them. So I thought that was really
Yeah.
interesting.
That was super interesting.
Yeah, it's always stuck in my mind that Lucian is the one that like goes to Elaine and gives her his jacket. And like she wants nothing to do with him, which is totally understandable. But like the fact that he is the one that while she's getting put into the cauldron is like twice he says like, no, let's not do this. And then yeah, he uses his day court power to break out of the magic and go to her. And he doesn't even realize they're mates yet. I don't know, guys, because you know that I think Elena's going to end up with someone else. But, like, how do we feel about Elaine and Lucian? Like, do we think that they can make it work?
I think they could.
In all honesty, I like Elaine with Lucian better than Elaine with Az. So like I'll take him as a second choice.
Why do you like her better with Lucian?
Because I like Az with Gwyn.
Okay, so it's purely just that you prefer as with Gwen.
Yeah.
So, therefore, it'd be okay if Elaine ended up with Lucian.
I don't think she should. Like I don't think he deserves her. Like I think everything Lucian's ever done since book 1 has been kind of downhill for him.
Yeah.
But yeah. That's why I like finding a third option.
Yeah. And we don't know that there won't be one.
The third option should be no one.
I'm fine with that too.
Yeah.
Because we
Yeah.
don't really know what she's thinking other than she doesn't really like Lucian. She wants to at least kiss and sleep with Az. I think that's it, really.
Yeah, she's digging the Az train, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I kind of understand, like, in that scene where she goes into the cauldron, like, I understand it's a scary, like, traumatic experience. Being in
Yeah.
this world that she's never been over the wall. This is her first time, her and Nesta being over the wall, right? Or in Hybern, this place.
Yep.
Surrounded by fairies, and then being dunked into a cauldron. And then some random guy saying, "You're my mate."
Wait,
Traumatizing.
guys, I have an important question and we might not be able to discuss it here, but has off the top of my head, I can't think of a couple in in Mossverse that isn't enemies to lovers. Like that's friends to lovers.
Well, so we can talk about it in terms of ACOTAR.
We can talk about it in terms of ACOTAR, but I was
You're
trying to
right.
think whole universe.
Right, we can't talk about that.
We
can
can't talk about that.
later.
Well, we can talk
This
about
is
it
a
in
preview for later.
but off the top of your head, can you think of one? It's just a yes or no.
I will respond to your question later in the episode.
I can
Okay.
think of one for the ACOTAR verse. If
Who?
Of a not friends to enemies to lovers.
they're not enemies to lovers because there's really no relation, but it could be, and that would be Moore and Emery.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't
But
think they would be enemies, but they could be friends.
they
To
have
love.
not officially worked out yet. So I would say that
True.
yeah, in this, yeah, we really only have Reese and Feyre and Cassian and Nesta.
Yeah. And I don't think if it was Gwen and Az, I don't think they would be enemies. They would be
No.
also friends to lovers. So that's another.
That's what I'm saying. I don't see Gwen as, because I can only think of enemies to lovers couples.
Right. Right. No, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying, Elena. Is that like might Elaine and Lucian be the couple because they are the ones that aren't supposed to work out? It's possible. Or she's
And
gonna do
saying
something
Elaine
different.
and Lucian. That wasn't the point I was getting at, but you know.
Yeah, great. Have we said enough about Lucian? Are we good on Lucian?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm excited to see Lucian in the next book and continue to talk about him because he definitely does more character development in the beginning of Wings and Ruin for sure. I would argue. Okay, Tamlin, how do we feel? How do we feel about him?
He's such
Idiot.
an idiot.
Okay.
Big old dumb idiot.
Devil's advocate, I will say, because again, trying to remain unbiased and make sure I'm not missing anything. It was so clear to me in this that Tamlin is blindsided and absolutely furious about what Ianthe did. And I think that there's always been a part of me that has blamed the Nesta and Elaine thing on Tamlin. And it's probably just because every time I read this part, I'm just like in a rage and I'm not paying attention. But this time I was like, Brooke, take a deep breath, pay attention. And he's livid about what Ianthe has done. So I at least like the only thing we can attribute to Tamlin really and truly is selling out to Hybern, which I think we can give him the benefit of the doubt that he genuinely thought that Reese had taken over Feyre's mind.
He definitely did. He's a big dumb idiot. I agree with
So
you. Like,
dumb.
I have also historically been very angry, but this all adds to Tamlin redemption arc theories.
Well, and you know that I'm pro Tamlin redemption arc. And I just keep foreseeing this scene where he is with someone. I don't know who that is. And just like explaining it from his point of view and us just all like crumbling and being like, oh, Tamlin, I'm so sorry. You're so stupid.
He's so stupid.
No. He was a big dumb idiot.
You know, I kind of just realized in this read that it's not his fault that Ianthe went behind their backs and told Hybern where to find Nesta and Elaine. And like, really, the only thing that we can hold him accountable for is the fact that he thought that Reese had taken over Feyre's mind. And like, I totally get it. Like, from the things that we've talked about previously, like, I understand how he could genuinely think that that was the case. Again, big dumb idiot because like Feyre sent him a breakup letter, but like I can get behind a redemption arc in which someday he is with someone and he's like talking about everything from his point of view, and then I feel really bad, and then we love it. Elena, what are you thinking?
I don't like. I'm here for calling Tamlin a big dumb idiot. He is a big dumb idiot. I won't say him ignoring her breakup letter is a big dumb idiot moment, because he obviously saw it and went, "Who the heck wrote this? Feyre doesn't write."
We did mention
Or
that in the last episode.
is it a big dumb idiot that he didn't, believe it?
Yeah.
But he didn't believe it because it wasn't from her, because she can't write.
I will say the thing that I still didn't love was just like how condescending he was to her in this moment. And I know that we can read it like he's worried, he's really missed her, he's like out of his mind. But just the whole like favorite cum. I'm like, she is not a dog. She's not a dog.
Did not like that.
No, it's gross. Not a good Tamlin look, but also Anthony is a worse look. What's a big dumb idiot moment is the fact that he believes her in the next book when she's like, I didn't know.
Yeah, and we're definitely gonna have to talk about that again when we finally, in a couple weeks when we're talking about Aka War.
Just does not treat his friends well.
Mm,
And it's
he
the
doesn't.
wrong friends too.
Yep.
No,
And, like,
apparently he's keeping a giant secret for Lucian.
He could be. He could be keeping that secret.
And
like
it would add to his story of like how he's actually not the worst when he finally gets to tell it.
I do wonder sometimes if like Tamlin has more going on. Like, does he actually forgive Ianthe? Does he realize that Ianthe's a horrible person? Like, does Tamlin just still need to do a lot of work where he needs to like grow his brain and his critical thinking skills and just
So who's good at growing
Communicate.
things?
Wait, what? I totally missed that.
Yes, I do, and I'm going to ignore you. So, are we done talking about Tamlin? We didn't
Can I just
know.
say one more thing? I think I was
Yes.
reading something about someone's reaction reading ACOTAR for the first time.
Mm.
And they were looking for reassurance about how they felt about Tamlin. And one of the things that they mentioned was like this guy had so many red flags. And one of them being is that he knows what Calamai is, what's gonna happen, like this big festival of, magic upkeep. And Lucian goes to Feyre and says, like, oh, you don't know about Fire Night? Tamlin didn't tell you? Why didn't Tamlin tell her?
Well, I think
Because he wants her to come.
Mm.
No.
Or Tamlin's a big dumb idiot and he doesn't think that Feyre has enough of a personality to want to come and find it if she's been told, no, sit, stay. Good dog.
It all comes back to
So
Tamlin
bad.
thinking she's a dog.
Yeah. I mean, he treats her like it all the time. As like even in ACOTAR, like when it seems cute and he's like, I didn't know that mortals had things like passions. And it's like, yeah, duh. Like, my guy. I still
He
think
needs
that
to
he can
be
grow.
better at communicate.
Yeah. And I really do think that he has the seeds of being a very good person. He just has a lot of work to do. And I'd be here to watch it happen. And I think it'd be really satisfying at the end, but he's got a lot of work. Elena, I said that I was going to ignore you, but now I want to pose just like a hypothetical to you. With the scene that we just read, with Lucian and Tamlin both being there for what happens to Elaine, tell me how, if we got to the end of a Tamlin Elaine love story, how is Tamlin going to explain this in a satisfactory way? And I will give you 20 seconds.
You're gonna ask this too? I really looked at this scene to be like, Tam, where is it? And it's not there.
It's not
It's
there.
really not.
It doesn't make for a great meet cute. Like, oh, remember when I just kind of like let you get drowned into eternal being and did nothing, but my side friend did? That was fun. Let's make out.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it to you. Lucian definitely does more in this scene. I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't base my theory around textual evidence so much as I base it around how entertaining it would be.
And it would be entertaining. You're totally right. It would be so entertaining.
Just to watch how mad Jamie gets.
Honestly, I truly believe that 85% of why you love Tamlin and Elaine is the first rise you got out of Jamie when you mentioned it like a year ago. You were like, tucking this away for later.
Gross.
Any hoozle, can we talk about my second favorite ACOTAR couple, Cassie and Anesta, and all of their cute moments in this part? Because there were a
You
lot
mean
and they were adorable.
the best ACOTAR couple?
No. It's Faith Ann.
I do know that some people have that opinion. Would you like to talk about your favorite couple and their origins, Elena?
It's just so cute how, like, they don't even realize at this point, but every time Nesta does anything, Cassian's just like, tell me more. What can I do for you?
It's like the swearing to protect her too. It's like him doing that, but in a Cassian way, which is like when Nesta is worried and he's just like, I will kill anyone who tries to like harm you or your sister. And then like just the him crawling toward her, like I remember when this scene happened the first time, I was like, done. It's the two of them. It's the two of them or I riot. Like there is no other option. And like there isn't. And I love that they're that couple that you know from like the first minute they lay eyes on each other, this is gonna happen, and it does.
Yep.
It's so great.
I love them.
I hate the cauldron scene, but I love the cauldron scene when Nesta's just like, I hate everyone. I am going to murder you. Like, just know you will regret this. And I think there's a line in there where it's like, and the King of Hybern, like, stop smirking or something. Like, he realized he messed up.
Scared.
Yeah.
He fucked up.
Yeah, where is it? I have it highlighted, so I'll be able to find it really quickly. Where is my orange? Yep. And as Nesta's head was forced under the water, as that hand was violently shoved down, the King of Hybern had the good sense to look somewhat unnerved. I was like, he
He
knows.
should.
He
I love that
knows.
like every reference with Nesta is like there's fire involved.
Yeah. Yeah, the symbolism that leads up to Silver Flames is just fantastic. Yeah. Even like her just coming out of the cauldron and Feyre being like, she is different. Like she is not like Elaine. Like there is something else. Just like even from that first moment, I was like, oh, what is it? I want to know. So good. I love Nesta. Anything else about Nessian? Just that we love them and we're already excited to get to Silver Flames. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, do we want to talk more about that, Jamie, or do you want to save it?
No, you can save it.
Gonna save it for later. Just a little head bob. We'll come back to that when we get to them. But yeah, who else do we have to talk about?
Do you want to talk about more? Because I feel like last episode we were talking a lot about her power being truth, and then I just thought it was really interesting in this scene. Again, had completely forgotten that's going to be a theme. Like that when they're using the truth orb thing that I'm not going to try and pronounce, where they're like, her family's like only ever used it a handful of times. Like it's not something, and I'm like, but why? We don't get a backstory on like why they're so judicious in using it. Because like in this scene, it just seems like a pretty casual like, here's the city. Not much dangerous about that, other than the fact that they're like giving up Valaris, which they knew. So like I don't know. It just added to my confusion, I think.
She uses a power to like get Rhys's like view of Valaris to show through the orb for sure. And then did you guys see that she has some sort of healing power in the last scene that she's using on Az?
Yeah.
I think doesn't everyone have healing power to some extent?
Do they? Because I know you can heal yourself, like with your inherent like Fey magic, like you heal quicker. But I don't think
was Rhys healing Cass? Someone was healing someone while Moore was healing, or Amryn was healing. Like someone was healing each of them in that scene.
I think Rhys was trying to heal Kaz, and then when they moved back to Valaris, Amryn was helping one of them.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I noticed that, and I've got like my eagle eye out for like what can Moore do.
Yeah, I didn't notice that the first time that she had
either.
healing powers.
I think again because my brain was just screaming the whole time.
Yeah.
So much happened.
I don't know. I'm confused about what's so important about this orb, and I also want to know if it's connected to like Truth Teller. Like, why are there so many things named Truth something?
Yeah.
Good point.
No, that is a very good catch. And I mean, like, yeah, Truth Teller could just be the name of like he uses it to torture people, Truth Teller. But I do think that it's probably like a lot. It's got something else to it. Yeah.
Why do you think that?
What do you mean?
Why do you think that?
That it has something else to it? Oh, just because I just feel like there are very few things that are one layer in these books. Who else do we have to talk about? What about as a person? Do we have any like different feelings about him at this point? I know for me, like in these like moments in this section, I very much was just like, he is he is very good at killing people. Just like really wants murder. Like even more than Cassian. He is just like, I will kill anyone and not even bat an eye.
I will say, you know how earlier you posed the what do I notice about how Tam reacts to Elaine as opposed to Lucian? I also didn't notice anything about how Az interacts with Elaine in those scenes either.
I think there are like a couple mentions of Az like trying to have a reaction to what's going on. I think he's just so out of it.
Yeah, other than the first time that they visited their house, there's the estate, like there's that dinner scene, but I think there's a lot more in War.
Yeah, I think Elaine and Az really start like having a thing for each other in Akawar. For sure. And I like won't hold it against Az that he didn't really have like a lot of reaction in this scene to what was happening to Elaine because of the situation he was in. But like Lucian definitely gets the gold star for this one for standing out as like someone who cared about Elaine without even really knowing her. Like he'd never met her before.
Mm-hmm.
And like, is that just the mating bond, which we know like sometimes is a bad thing? Totally could be. And like, if that was the explanation and the two of them decided to be with other people, I can be at peace with that. But it's just like, it's a very nice first scene for the two of them if they ended up being endgame.
I was
wonder
thinking it would
too-
be. Oh wait,
What were you
what?
thinking?
No, never mind. I take it back.
Why?
You
I
can't
have
take
no
it back.
thoughts.
I want to
You
hear what it
can't take it
was.
back. Yeah, I
but
want to know now.
Jamie, what were you gonna say?
I think like I wonder if it brought back memories of his first love, not first love, but like, you know, his love that was tortured and killed in front of him by his own
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
That's all.
And just as much as he is sad boy Lucian and he also has a lot of work to do, so I will not argue that point. I do really think that he is a nice person. Like he would genuinely want to help someone. So it could just be that too.
Oh, what we didn't talk about. I love the fact that Lucian's the only one that realizes that Feyre's there to absolutely destroy the spring court. Like every time he like gives Feyre a look and is like,
That's one of my favorite parts of the beginning of Akawar, and that's why I said I'm so
Yeah.
excited to talk more about Lucian because I think he's one of the best characters in the beginning. It's just like Feyre being devious and then just Lucian being like, I know what you're doing. And she's like, no, you don't. He's like, no, but I do.
Can I make
Yeah.
a prediction? So if
Yes.
they were to
Yeah.
explore their matehood, Lucian and Elaine, I think
Yeah.
would be really interesting because we know that he's sassy. And I think Elaine could start to be sassy too,
Oh yeah.
especially like that little hint in Silver Flames where she kind of like talks back to Nesta. So I think it'd be really fun and interesting to see them interact with one another in a
Yeah.
romantic way.
And we just haven't really been able to see a lot of Elaine. Like we've had a lot of scenes with her in them, but she's never the front character in any of them. Like we need to figure out
We need her
more about
story.
her. Yeah, we need to figure out more about her. And I think also like I don't think anyone can argue that like either Lucian or Elaine have given their relationship an actual try. Like other than a couple conversations where Lucian has basically talked at her and she's ignored him. Like, I think they still need to give it an actual try. I don't know if it'll work, but I think like they need to actually just like go out for pizza or like a coffee or something.
Lucian, like if she gave him a chance, Lucian I think would be actually like really good. Like he would try his best. He would do anything for her. He would be simp number 1 in a book full of simps.
Yeah.
But
I love that.
it's true.
Somebody's got to be simp number one.
A book full of simps.
Lucian, you stand out in a sea of simps.
A quart of flowers and simps.
And then we wrote a fan fiction. The end. Oh my goodness. What else? Any other scenes that really stand out? Anything in particular?
Can we talk about potential crossover now? If there was such a
Yeah,
thing as
that's all
potential
I
crossover?
had.
We can if
Facts.
everybody's good with that. All right, then we're gonna talk about other books. So if you're not fully caught up on everything that Sarah J. Maas has written in this series, the Throne of Glass series, and Crescent City, now is the time to peace out. We don't want to ruin anything for you, but you have been forewarned, and now we will begin. Elena, was there anything that you wanted to jump into immediately?
No. I
were like, I am now here for the crossover. Someone
I just want
talk
to
to me
hear.
about
Oh,
crossover.
yeah, I do want to talk about the enemies to lovers thing. Like,
Yes.
can you think of a single couple that isn't enemies to lovers in anywhere?
That isn't
That isn't.
like a prime couple, right? Like a prominent,
Yeah.
like they're an established couple.
Yeah. Like Lurk Leadis, Rowan and Aelin are, Dorian and Manon are.
And Irene, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Adrian
Hunt and Bryce
Lysandra.
Hypaxia.
are.
Who are we talking
Lysandra
about
and
first?
Adian? Is that what
Lysandra
you were
and
saying?
Adian.
Lysandra and Aedion I would call enemies to lovers.
Not at the
They
beginning.
hate each other. Not at the
really.
beginning, but they go through a period.
No. But like every couple in every romance goes through a period. But like Adian and Lysandra do not start off as enemies. They have a huge issue that they barely get over. But like they aren't enemies to lovers, I would say.
But they're not friends either. Like, she doesn't. I
Yeah.
think they go from ambivalent to like
They're
kind of interested in
coworkers.
each other to large problem to questionably together.
Yeah. And I would argue, because Jamie, I think you said Bryce and Hunt, but they do start off as enemies because he's like basically her babysitter, and she's trying to like give him the slip all the time, and he's like, "You
Did I
need
say
to
Bryce
work with
and
me."
Did I say Bryson Hunt?
Oh, I thought somebody
I think
said Bryce and Hunt.
I said Bryce and Hunt as in they are enemies to lovers. And then
Oh.
Rune and Lydia are also enemies to
Mhm.
lovers.
No, I was
Like, I think
was
everything in
gonna
Crescent City.
say Hypaxia and Celestina. I mean, we don't know
That-
how they got together, but didn't seem like they were enemies.
But Celestina is a piece of shit. So does it count? Like
I also-
Celestina
doesn't
the
think
Adian?
so.
What?
I said Hypaxia doesn't think so.
No.
I'm trying to
she
think of like
doesn't.
POV characters. Like POV, like main title characters. I just genuinely don't think there are any, which I don't think gives me a lot of faith in
What about
as in
Danica and Baxian? Is that his name?
We don't know how they start though.
I thought they were enemies at first. Or did they just keep it quiet at first?
They just kept it quiet.
Because he's a bad guy. Like, he's not a good, like, he's not,
But no,
like, he's good now, but he wasn't.
I know what you're saying, Elena, and I think that the thing that we keep coming back to with Elaine is that there are so many options, and that we wonder, like, is Sarah going to do the unexpected thing by breaking the like mates trope? Is she going to do the unexpected thing by not letting her be with Az and then completing like the three brothers, three sisters? Like, they're both like they would both be breaking tropes to not have her end up with them. I personally think Elaine ending up with Tam is like too far of a stretch, and I don't know if she would actually do that. But I don't know.
Yeah. I think, like, it seems most likely she'll end up with Lucian and just continue the enemies to lovers theme.
Yeah.
But I do think it's more likely she ends up with Tam than Az.
It could also
for
be
the same reason.
forbidden romance. And I forgot there was something that I wanted to bring up for Akatar. And that was there was a line in Reese's POV where he goes and he was talking about Lucian and Elaine being mates. And he says, oh god, where was it?
In his POV chapter at the end.
In his POV chapter at the very end. Oh, I got it. Perhaps Lucian being Elaine's mate would help somehow. I'd find a way. And that just reminds me of the bonus chapter in Silver Flames and how he was pissed at Az.
And Elaine
What
for
was
trying to
that?
Not
help
a good look for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super bad look.
Yeah, it was a bit disheartening reading that part. I'm like, "Oh, it just felt like political it's political." It's yeah, not a good look.
It is definitely partly political, but I will also say that like I understand Reese's point of view. Like he found his mate and they love each other and like this is the best thing that's ever happened to him. So I do understand his thought of maybe I need to help Lucian and Elaine get together because even at the end of Silver Flames, like Lucian and Elaine have not given it an actual try. So it's not like they tried dating and then Elaine's like, "No, I hate him because of X." Like I think that Reese would respect that. But I also think that Reese thinks that Az is just treating her as like a hot piece of ass and like doesn't realize that he actually has feelings for her because Az has like pined after more for like 300 years. And now all of a sudden he's like trying to hook up with Feyre's sister. Like I can see how he's like, Az, keep it in your pants. Like she's Lucian's mate. Like I can see how Reese like not taking the time and not listening, which that's one of his problems, is would lead him to this. No one's perfect. Yeah.
We'll revisit this
Yeah.
after Echo War.
But I agree with you, Elena, and I hadn't really thought about that, but basically every character that Sarah has ever written is enemies to lovers.
Like literally every single one.
Yeah.
Like I
Let
was
someone
running
please
through them in my
listen.
head.
My only thought to continue the hope of potentially Az and Elaine ending up together, because clearly that's what Elaine wants at this point. Like she's clearly into Az. Um, what Az does with the necklace and giving it to Gwyn could very easily start off the next ACOTAR book with them being enemies to lovers. Like,
You're
I'm
not
sorry, you
wrong.
did what with my necklace?
Oh god.
Yeah.
That's a
So
point.
Mean.
who knows? Who knows? We've got years before that's gonna pop back up, theoretically. Anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 years. We don't know. We don't know when we're gonna see them
So a
next.
four love triangle, maybe? A rectangle?
Maybe. Maybe. I will also say, because we are in Mossverse speak, I do not think that there will be anything with as and with Bryce, but I do wonder if like she will somehow play a part in helping them figure that out. And, I don't know how. But
I know you hate this, but I still think there's a chance that Hunt is going to be like Tamlin or killed
no.
off.
Nope. I 1,000% believe in them.
I do too.
So hard.
Just do we have confirmation they're mates or just a ton of textual evidence?
Do you mean
Sarah herself
has Sarah said
confirmed
that they
it
are
in an
mates?
interview.
Yeah.
Yes. She did. But even beyond that, there's no part of their relationship that to me seems like they shouldn't be together. And like they've had their shit too, but like there's no part of me that is like, "Oh yeah, could totally see them not working out because of this."
I love the lines in romance novels where it's always like, no matter which timeline or universe, I will always pick you. I will always find you. I love that.
And now
And
they're
Hunt
literally in
and
two
Bryce
different
have that.
dimensions. Ugh.
Yeah.
Dimensions or planes or planets, whatever they are. Yeah. Um,
I believe in them. I
Me
believe
too.
in Quinlar.
Yeah, but I do wonder if Bryce is going to come in and be like, "What is this weird love quadrangle? May I help you figure it out?" Like she just like sits them down. It's like,
I would love to
let's
have a scene like that.
yeah, like let's talk about how y'all want to do each other in different ways cuz it's weird. Um oh no.
Anything in this section about that seemed crossovery? Because I didn't see anything in particular.
I went
I
back too far.
spotted a few.
Yeah, what do you have one up, Jamie?
Um, when Feyre described Hybern, she knew spiders again.
I also highlighted that.
Like
Yep.
that island. Not
Keep
the
missing
king of
this.
Hybern, but like Hybern, the island.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
She described it as a spider, like sitting in
Mhm.
its lair or something.
Right.
Um,
That was on
on on the
oh, what is
Valg
it?
train, I just wanted to
Yeah.
also point out that twice they say that the King of Hybern's eyes are black.
Good catch. I did not see
Twice.
that.
And it doesn't go any further to be like they're totally black, like all black, but they do say that his eyes are black. Yeah.
Creepy. Creepy.
Yep. I tagged on page 537 just Feyre having her day powers manifest for the first time.
Mhm.
And she says she says, to find my skin glowing, faintly as if some inner
Oh,
light shone beneath my skin, leaking out into the world, warm and white light, like like the sun, like a star.
okay. Update. I did see that one, and I just completely forgot about it. Did it give you Starborn vibes? It did give me
Yes.
Starborn vibes.
Guys, if I haven't said it in an episode yet, or like to you, because I have my ADHD, I'm just like, squirrel. Like, we have three main characters who are stars. Like, they are stars. We have
Remind us who it is.
No, I mean, like, I think that Feyre has the power of a star. She is the High Lady of the Night Court. Like, she presides underneath three stars. We've got Bryce. That's self explanatory. And then, like, we have Aelin with the fire of a star. And she literally is a shooting star when Rhys slows down her path. Like, I think that, like, these women all have very similar powers. And I can't wait until they like combine their little rings and just like explode everything.
Too much into it to be questioning the fact that Bryce is the daughter of the Autumn King and also has what seem to be like star day court powers. And
Yeah.
Lucian is also the child of the Autumn Court and has star powers.
I mean, we have to assume that Bryce is descended from like the Autumn Court's ancestors, right? Like that's what I've
Yeah.
always assumed.
Yeah, but then it's weird that she also has what could be day court powers, and Lucian also has what might be day court powers.
Hmm. Or like, does the Day Court have some sort of god power? Like, are these all like powers from different gods that have been given to them? I don't know. But twice she mentions that the light is like starlight coming out of her. And it's like when you read it the first time, it's like, yeah, because he's the Lord of Night, and this makes sense. And then it's like, or is it more?
Is she also starborn?
Or is it more? I'm trying to find my other one. The only other thing that I tabbed other than like stuff between just Akatar, at least for now, when the book is talking to Feyre, it calls her the Lady of Many Faces. And it just like, I don't know. It before I'd read it and I thought that it was just like it commenting on the fact that she has like a little piece of each High Lord. And this time when I was reading it,
Oh,
I was just like, is it talking about a god? Like, is it talking
Mm.
about one of the like gods and
I couldn't
goddesses?
when listening to a bunch of titles and the names, I couldn't like connect who was who because they would say like a princess or something, and
Mm.
just trying to find that.
yeah.
Because I was also trying to figure out who was who, because I think there were 7 people in the room, but then it only addressed 6 of them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, maybe you're
Oh,
right.
is
Yeah,
it
after
in the
you
room with
find it.
the
Oh,
queens?
yeah, I found it. It's with the queens. It's Hello, Sweet Thing. Hello, Lady of Night. Princess of Decay. Hello,
Yes.
Fanged Beast. And Trembling Fawn. Love me, touch me, sing me. So it's like
Mm. Which page is it,
Oh,
Elena?
Trembling Fawn. That must be Elaine.
54. I also thought Trembling Fawn might be Elaine. Sure, because in the room it's more Cassian as I think Az is there.
Reese, Nesta, Elaine, and
Reese,
Farah.
Nesta, Elaine, and Feyre, which is 7, but then it only addresses 5.
Mm,
Yeah.
so
Wait.
interesting.
Oh, wait. Never mind.
I totally read it as just like the different parts of Feyre, but yeah,
Might be.
Oh,
But that would also
interesting.
be more than 5.
the different parts of Feyre. Oh, I meant more like when she looks in the Ouroboros and like realizes like all the dark things about her and comes to terms with them.
See?
But no, I agree with you that it could definitely be talking to the different people. So interesting.
Mhm.
Princess of Decay. We all know who that is.
Who?
Nesta?
Oh, it's definitely Nesta. They call her that again.
Do
Oh,
they?
Princess
really?
Queen of Death or something in
Lady
Silver
Death?
Flames. Lady Death, yeah. Yeah. And Cassian is the oh no, because that was on the other page. Calls her like the Princess of Carrion or something.
Well, and then if it is different people, I don't know if Lady of Night is Feyre or if it's more. I feel like it could be either.
Hmm. Yeah. Who's Sweet Thing? It's Reese. The book has a crush on Az.
No, that's actually Nesta.
So sweet. Sweet like a piece of candy. Oh goodness. The only other not like super crossover things that I found were about the house. Just I thought it was interesting. The power of the cabin is it does seem to be the same as the House of Wind, and I just wonder if it's the same consciousness or if it's separate. Which isn't truly crossover, so we probably could have talked about it before, but I remember it now. So there. Only our crossover friends can know. But yeah, um, that was all I had.
I
Reading
had
this book
one.
again was magical. Mm.
Ooh,
This
what
is
did you
this is
have?
still my favorite. It was about the cauldron and how I don't know the exact line, but it was like they were or looking into the cauldron and it was so dark and inky. It was like the universe.
Yep.
That was my only that was
Yeah.
my only
No, and we know
tap.
that the universe did come from the cauldron, since when it starts to break, so does everything. But yeah, the inky black of the
I think it's
cauldron.
gonna. I don't know. My theory is that we're gonna at some point find out that
Ooh.
not everything comes from the cauldron, because Feyre also notes that like it's only bad things that really seem to be associated with the cauldron. Like she specifically made a comment that there's like no joy, no happiness, no
Hmm.
light. Which so like the cauldron could be the darkness. So then I feel like there's gonna have to be like some opposing light source at some point that comes out.
Yeah. We've got a lot of light
Um,
with all of our star power friends.
mhm.
Jamie, what did you find?
Okay, I have two. I'm sorry. I keep adding.
Bring it on.
One of them was the scene in Valaris before the Adders attack. Um, it was when Feyre was like listening to the music, and I think Cassian was saying how this was music before the humans came here, and it made me question like, okay, then how did they get here then?
Yeah.
So that was one, and then this one brought back to Throne of Glass Maeve and how she manipulated the mating bond, and it made
Mm.
me question the cauldron's powers and how could the cauldron also be manipulating the mating bond with Elaine.
Maybe.
True.
I also had the thought it's weird that like there's 3 mated couples all in a room. Like all 3 sisters are mated and the males they're mated to just happen to be in the room for this scene.
A
Like
very rare mating something that's supposed to be so rare.
yeah.
Yeah. No, and I like that idea, Jamie, because, like, I love mates, so it's like, let's have more of those and not have them be rare. That's fine. And also, like, the way that Reese and Feyre were talking about it in this section, it seems like it's way less rare than it was first made out to be. Because he's like, oh, yeah, like, when people are mates, this is how they deal with it. And I'm like, if this was one in every, like, even 100 couples, like, you wouldn't even really know. What
How
what
did we
would
not talk about the Cassie and Reese scene?
Oh,
Oh,
because our brains are just on crossover. Um, yeah. I don't know. I think that's a really good thought. That is the cauldron doing something, or is some force doing something to potentially create more mates? And is it like the cauldron is trying to help because it realizes that they need more power to combat what is coming, or is it not really the cauldron? Is it just some other force?
do we remember
Really
how
see.
Maeve did it?
Oh, how she made Rowan think that that girl was
Yeah,
his
how did
mate? I
she do,
don't.
how did she do that?
I don't remember.
She was just like really, really compatible with him and just did something.
Just mind tricks. She's very good at
Yeah,
that.
I think it was
Yeah,
mind trick stuff.
because she did that with Aelin by giving her like it was like in her I don't know if it was like in her dreams, but she gave her like scenarios where this is what your life could have been like if I
Yep.
wasn't involved or something. If I was really your aunt, like
Yeah.
you would have met Rowan sooner.
Yeah. Yeah. So I could see her just being able to use mind tricks.
And
But
why is it that the cauldron loves Elaine and then didn't want to give Nesta any? Well that's another thing. Like I love that. Like didn't want to give Nesta anything, but Nesta took it.
Nesta took
And
more
give
than it was
Nesta,
offering.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Like it was gonna give her something. It's just Nesta was like, haha, no,
F
if you're
you.
doing this to me, you're gonna regret it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So badass. Yeah. But yeah, Cassian and Reese beating each other up is simultaneously both hilarious and also very touching, because I love that part where Feyre realizes, she was like, oh, Cassian realized that Reese needed to expend some energy before we let him loose on the general public.
Expend energy and also trusted him not to absolutely demolish him like he could have.
Yeah, they're such good friends, brothers, family. Yeah, I just love this book. I love this whole thing. And it's funny, just like every time I read it, I find something different or remember a new funny line. And it's just as good reading it the third time as the first time. Less crying, but good for other reasons.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Anything else? Or on to A Court of Wings and Ruin. All right. Thanks for joining us for A Court of Mist and Fury, guys. We'll see you for the next one. Bye.